Dear students, I hope you all are doing well. So today I am here with today's news headlines, and the newspaper that I am going to read is the Indian Express. So today is the first day of Navratri, and today's date is September 22, 2025. So in the beginning of Navratri, happy Navratri to everyone. So let's begin. And here we start our session. Okay. So from this slide, I am going to read. I'm going to read all the relevant headlines in context of any government exams. Okay. So if any student who have any doubt regarding anything, then please comment down. I will definitely reply that comment. Okay. And if anyone want PDF of this lecture, then please comment down. Okay. So let's read it. And I just want to say that if some news in any slide, if some news is much more relevant, I will going to explain that slide in detail. Otherwise, I just read that headline and skip that news. Okay. But if you think it's relevant, you have to read all the lines in detail. So here we begin our session. So let's move. Okay. This is the first topic and this is the first news. And the news is this. Address to nation ahead of GST 2.0 rollout today. PM, what PM says? Just wait. So, PM says GST, Goods and Service Tax, Bachat Utsav begins with Navratri double bononja for people. Okay. So, in this context, PM want to say that MSME have a big responsibility in making India self-reliant, says Modi. Okay, I have to pick out the highlighter. So new GST rates, lower prices, household budget set for boost. This is the new GST rates and how the prices of goods are getting low and household budgets are for boost. Okay, so this is the dollar, $1 lakh. Visa free one time only for new application, says White House. This is the news by US, and it's in context of India's economy, and it says about the H-1B visa program. According to this visa, there is a lot of professional workers or professional students. Everyone get a job in US. So through this visa, they go there and work there. I mean to say that in US IT sector. Okay, so this news is for this. So let's move on to the another news. Sparks fly, emotions spill over, but India too good for Pakistan once again. This is the thing. So this news says that the sparks emotion falls over, but India too good for Pakistan once again. It means it's a match about the India and Pakistan, and this news is about that. Indus Water Treaty hold on hold. Sawal Kote Dam panel to weigh green nod for Chenab project. So employers trend with caution, still flying in foggy condition. Another news. Delhi to Mumbai and Bangkok, how Pakistan handlers paid CRPF main for spying. Complaint names company Sesi, Chief Financial Officer, Minister to Police on NSDC official might run away with government money. Blanket to fodder, relief warehouses a lifeline for flood hit Punjab. If any student who want detailed explanation of any news from this slide, then please move on to the another slide of this newspaper. And this is the another slide. Can each student can able to get the detailed explanation from here. So read it if anyone want. I hope everyone able to see each lines without any blurriness. So let's move on to the another slide, and this is about the city. Let's read the important headlines. Amid sexual harassment complaint, principal of DU College suspended. Oh, DU College means Delhi University College means in this university there is not one college, there is a lot of college, and on that a lot of college, mainly this headlines is about single college, not about all colleges. So let's read it. It's about which college? We have to read all the lines. After that we can conclude it's about which college. Matter to be investigated by internal complaint committee. Varsity official. Accused has rejected the allegation and termed the charges as false, fabricated, politically motivated, and devoid of merit. Two illegal Bangladeshi immigrants held in city. I'm unable to find the name of the college, mainly about the name of that college only. So let's move on to the another slide. This is also about the city. Days after man cleaning sewer dies, construction firm manager arrested. So let's move on to the another. Teen pushes a four-year-old from cliff to take revenge detained. I will not say another again and again because it sounds weird. So if first headlines end, I will automatically move to the another headline. So be focused, okay? Delhi police is trying to make its special cell special again. GST reforms will strengthen economy and provide relief from inflation. Delhi CM. This is about this is said by the CM Rekha Gupta. Okay, she is the currently CM of Delhi, and she want to say that due to the reform, I mean to say that is GST 2.0. In this reform, it genuinely tell about that for the consumer point of view, the inflation for them is getting decreased, and it is very helpful for them, for all the consumers of India, because when there is a lowest when the inflation means महंगाई, and if this decrease, then it's a huge relaxation for each Indians or each people. So this is the main thing that is said by the Delhi CM. Okay, so let's move on to the another slide. Who says thank you in the big slide? We humbly, this is by the author of Indian Express, I think. We humbly thank our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, our Honorable Finance Minister Sri Nirmala Sitharaman, and Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry Sri Piyush Goyal for having reduced the GST for safety matches to 5% and to have restricted the import of single-use plastic cigarette lighter, thus saving the safety match industry and all its stakeholders at this time of crisis in our industry. Thank you. I know this thank you is mainly from the match industry in Tamil Nadu. Acha. This is by them. Let's move on to the another slide. This is also about the city. How irrelevant news are there, like a local news and the public news? This English, we read English newspaper so that we can able to avoid all the and it's not about irrelevant, but it's not in context of any current affairs or any knowledge. These are just general news, like anyone kills someone, anyone kidnaps someone. These type of news are just normal, just regular news. And I mean to say that these things are not normal, these activities are not normal, but I have to say that these all things that are here, that I am going to teach, these are just local news. And if we read English newspaper, it genuinely, I want to say that the idea and the motive of us to gain some knowledge about the current affairs, about the written papers, these are the things, these are the main idea. I mean, we learn vocab every day. These are the things that everyone want. Okay, so why these types? It means okay, let's move on. And if there is news, then read it, because nothing is irrelevant. My teacher told me. So read it. Mobile snatching in Amar colony. Cousin come to rescue of man being attacked, injured. Poor attendance, lack of support, and new education mission old road blocks. Former banker loses rupees 2300 223 rupees 23 crore in digital arrest fraud in Delhi. Oh, government to conduct study on smoke getting quoting on roads minister. I have to pick out pencil. From the Isles of Iran ambassador, Delhi, a unique city you can experience history, nature, and modernity. Oh, we all know because it's the capital of India. Can anyone tell me the difference between Delhi and New Delhi? If any student say it's the same place, it's a name of both a single place, Delhi and New Delhi, then then they can also explain why. There would be the reason, na? So there should be. I mean to say that there should be the reason. Then explain why. Karnataka caste survey from today amid Congress unease, BJP pushback. India, Canada, and NSAs discuss Khalistan separatism terror. Karnataka sayer sacked over survey listing comment. Oh, this is the first day of the Navratri and I forgot the date. This is the 22 September. I already told when I began the session, but I forgot that today is the date of 22 September where the new GST slab it will impact it in all over the India. And this is the thing. So every consumer and everyone who are watching my videos, then lots of congrats just because of this slab, because this slab is very helpful for the consumer's point of view. So let's move on to the other slide. After PM's address to nation on GST saving festival is banned, aid on deep wounds. Congress targets Pradhan Mantri, Prime Minister. Stop India-Pakistan conflict should get Nobel for ending 7 wars, said by Trump. BJP claims PM's mother insulted during Tejasvi Yatra. RJD denies charge. Discord in Lalu family. Overgrowing cloud of Tejasvi advisor. Rohini unfollows father and brother on X. How Bihar is using nighttime light to measure its economic growth. So this is the Express Network. In post Sindur push, first batch of BSF drone commandos soon. Oh, means in the team of commandos there is new batch, and the name of the batch will be the drone commandos, and it will be inject from, I don't know the date, but it will inject in the commando list. So this is the news. This is the famous singer who died tomorrow, and the name of the singer is Jubin Garg, and he is famous for his songs. He mainly give a lot of songs, and his songs are much famous and more famous. Mainly, I think everyone heard the song Yali Madad Gali. So this song is sung by Jubin Garg. So RIP to him. No one can be. Let's move to the other news. No one can be like Jubin Da. Lakhs bid farewell to Assam icon. So this is also about the Jubin Garg, how they made farewell on his death. So this is the news. 17 held, 88 booked in Godhra for vandalizing police post. Police in Godhra after the violence. 2-year-old falls off bike into open drain after found to body found 2 kilometers away. Oh. Traditional thought should be beacon for policies, said by Bhagwat. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. Can anyone tell me the name of the chief of Niti Ayog? You know na, the name of the Niti Ayog is transition from at the name it transit means change at 2014, I think the date is. And before before the name of Niti Ayog we call as Planning Commission, and it changes its name. So we call today's Niti Aayog, and the full form of Niti Aayog is National Institute for Transforming India. So tell me the chief of Niti Aayog. Uh, Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog. Tell me. From this news, I remember this question. So finally, we are at the editorial page and we are going to read this in detail. So firstly, we read the thought of the day, and this page is much more relevant, much more imperative in context of any exam, in context of anything. If any student who want to increase their vocab, who want to increase their listening, speaking, writing, anything, if they want skills, then they have to read this page, this slide regularly or in detail, not skipping. Okay, if you skip any line, then that's very worst thing for you. So you have to read each lines in detail. So before reading this topic, inside the topic, we are going to read the thought of the day and the wordly wisely. We know the name as wordly wisely. So wordly wise, what's inside it? Let's read. The United States should be an asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty. Thomas Paine. So, this is the thought of the day. This is by the author Kanti Bajpal. Sorry, Bajpai. What he want to say? Just read from here. Wake up call. This is the name of the topic. And here we are going to read what the main thing that the author want to say. Worries about H1B visa free hike speak for of India's larger problem. Economic self-reliance is long way off. So we also read about this news in the first slide where we where we say that the I think 1 lakh dollar visa should be free. Not we say, it's said by the US President Donald Trump. So this is the thing. Worries over H1B visa. What type of worries the author want to explain us? Let's read it. Kanti Vajpayee. So this all thing that is written here is in context of this author. What's in the mind of author? This is the thing that is written here. Okay, before reading this online, just read this line to evaluate each thing in detail. Indians in recent years have topped the list of H1B visa recipient. Up to 70% of those issued. Indian students in the US rival Chinese students in terms of number, and the US is top destination for our students going abroad. Means for Indian students, US is the top destination for them to make career or to get job. So this is the thing. Plus, which elite and middle class Indian family does not dream of a green card of their young? American arms and military technology are seen as important for India's defense. Okay. Modernization include assault rifles, helicopters, missile, reconnaissance. Can anyone tell me the meaning of this word? Okay. Cargo and fighter aircraft and unmanned aerial system, among others. And whether we say it publicly or not, we do not count on Washington to be a strategic backstop against Beijing in the Indo-Pacific. This is the thing. This is mainly about the US visas and the destination center of Indian students and China's student. So what they also want to say, let's read it in line by line. So the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, is right, one of the greatest dangers facing India is the country's dependence on foreign countries, he said while addressing an event in Bhavnagar, Gujarat. On September 24, all the talks of strategic autonomy and multi alignment, what we are faced with is the opposite strategic and multi dependence. Our government, our business, and we ourselves as Indians have contributed to the state we find ourselves in with China, Russia, and the USA. We seems to be in a foreign policy corner. Means mainly the from this passage, the author want to say the words of Modi ji, and in this they mainly want to say that how the Indians are much more engaged with China, Russia, and US, these foreign countries, and how we can depend on them, how the multi-dependence strategy shows. So these are the things this is talk about in this paragraph. So with China, we are dependent on a range of manufacturing product. Okay, so this is the thing that says here that with China, like China is producing much more products and we are dependent on them. How the allots of commodities from everyday household consumer items to commodities and capital good means in each and everything we have a lot of variety choices, and these all are given from China. These are the thing that is written in this line, that a lot of varieties that in a lot of varieties in the product manufacturing product, and how we dependent on the things that is produced mainly from China and they import to and how imported in India. So this is the thing. As middle class Indian, we are hooked on Chinese consumer items all the way to white goods. We need Chinese precursor chemical active pharmaceutical ingredients APIs, without which our framed pharmaceutical industry would collapse. Means the author want to explain their idea, and in that idea they want to say that we have to make our own goods made in India, make in India, and we should have to implement these type of things in each place. Like due to a lot of middle class in Indians, they buy the Chinese products just because they are cheap. Their products are cheap, that's why they are buying that type of products. So what the author want to say, that if they are giving us that same product in cheap way, then why we are not able to produce that product? If we get that chemical formulas or that chemicals, then we can also able to produce that products in our own country. This is the main thing that author want to say. So, as for commodities, India import most of its rare earth metal, which are vital for batteries and other electronic devices and polysilicon wafers and solar cells from China. We are increasingly dependent also on Chinese fertilizer. Means how we can dependent on China on earth metals to make the vital batteries in India and the other electronic devices like solar cells and any and means or etc. Means how we can dependent on China even on the fertilizers. This is the thing written here. and tunnel boring equipments. This is the thing that we are dependent, how we are dependent on them. We are assembling phones in larger number, but key components are imported, including from China. Most of our computers are also from China. We buy large amount of semiconductors from China as well. This is the thing, that how we can import it, how Indians import Chinese product, how dependent we are on Chinese products. This is the thing that the author want to say. So with Russia, we are heavily dependent on. So how we dependent on Russia? This is the main thing that we in the above headlines we only read about how we dependent on China. In the other headlines, we are going to say that how we are not going to. We are already dependent on Russia, and what contest how we are dependent. This is the written here. So this is the idea that the author wanted to say. So we are dependent on arms, oils. Arms means the weapons, okay? So about 60 to 70% of key platform, including spares and diversified to Florence, Israel, US dependence, Russia goes back to the 1970, and it's hard for the armed force to wean themselves off Russian equipment. Domestic production increased except capital ship. India is dependent on Russia equipment on three services: air, army, okay, air force, and navy. These are the three things how we are dependent on Russia. Our oil purchase from Russia were small at about 4% of our oil in 2022. Since then, we peaked up 40%. Oh, of our oil purchased from Russia source. Major refineries in India are now heavily dependent on Russia's supply. Means how Indians are dependent on Russia and its oil and the armed equipments. This is the thing. With the Russia, with the US, we are dependent on four thing also, like Russia, like China. How we are dependent on US. This is the thing written here. This topic, this headlines, this is by the Kanti Vajpayee. This is very important. Everyone read each lines in detail. I am also reading this, but you should have to read in your own way. So it's make you much more relevant. Okay. So with the US, how we can dependent on them? We are dependent on four things. Market of four export, H1B visas of 4 hour professionals and student visas and green cards for our young. Key military are key military armaments and component including G engine for our indigenous fighter aircraft, the Tejas, and counterbalancing against China's power to Indo-Pacific. This is the way how we dependent on us. Sorry. So how we dependent on US mainly for the visas and the key components of the aircraft fighter jets, and the name is Tejas. How we are dependent on them. So H1B visas. So the US is our largest export destination. Okay, India's in recent have topped the list of H1B visas recipient. Up to 70% of those issued Indian students of US rival Chinese student. This is the number of team of terms of number where US top destination for the students, and even middle class Indians does not dream for green card of their young. American armies and military technology are seen as vital for India's defense. Modernization including assault rifle, helicopter, missiles, reconnaissance, cargo, and fighter jet. This is the thing how we dependent on them. Here we written. Here we not. Here how author written. So this is the thing. This is the three lines. which says how we depend. So these from the three paragraphs, we already concludes how the India is mainly dependent on the three countries. Okay. So dependence on the three powers means we are in a tight corner now. Delhi cannot afford to offend China over the border, and India's relationship with US beyond a point. It cannot offend Russia for the Ukraine war, its arms sells to China, and its burgeoning relationship with Pakistan, and it cannot annoy Moscow by stopping oil. Finally, it cannot offend America's over tariff and India's relationship with China and Russia as well as Iran beyond a point. This is the condition that mainly author want to say. Okay, so our foreign policy is difficult, have become clear ever since President Donald Trump declared war on India's tariff and oil imports from Russia. The American president action have brought overall dependence on China, Russia, and US into sharp focus. This is as much of a wake-up call as the collapse of Soviet Union countries' predicament after the end of the Cold War in 1989. So this road ahead is clear enough through traveling the road. Even more difficulties than the road of economic reforms in 1990s. How do we fix our dependence over such a wide range of economic goods and other needs? As the Prime Minister noted, we require a revolution in manufacturing despite several changes rung in by the government. Our manufacturing companies, private, public, are not rising to the challenge. The economy from 1990s reform has averaged roughly 7% GDP growth, yet manufacturing sector stubbornly refuses to take off. Means mainly about, I will conclude, just this is the last para. Manufacturing is not the only bottleneck. We desperately need various commodities including energy, rare earth and APIs, and must diversify our supplies for this plus in increasing domestic sources. We also need to diversify our export above all, although sorry though we need to galvanize the animal spirit of our manufacturing. This is the thing that the author mainly talks about, and this is the sorry so this is the idea. Where is the eraser? So this is the idea where the author mainly talks about. We can conclude that we have to, according to the thought of author, that author want to say that we have to make our own thing. We have to reduce from their dependency, because if we depend more, then we are getting more weaker in front of them, in front of these three countries. So India should have to take some steps uh, to get to get more above to increase its GDP also. So this is the main thing that mainly the author want to say, that India should have to follow a lot of strategy to become more independent and self-reliance. Main aim is that India should have to become self-reliant economy. Okay, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So let's move on to the another topic. This is mainly about the same, the US visas, but this is not about anyone's point of view. This is by author. Okay, so let's read it. The USA, the visa barrier, US protectionism in targeting mobility of high skilled professional. It's a challenge for Indian policymakers industry. Okay, no big deal. Saudi Pakistan defense pact should not alarm India, but Delhi needs to reflect on its security stakes in West Asia. So, this is mainly about the Saudi Pakistan defense and how India can reflect their security in front of them. This is the thing. So, this is the another headline. Let's read it, the last headlines of this editorial page. After that, we can go to the economy page, and from there, we end the session. So, let's read it. Strains in the canvas. Geopolitical has clouded global art business, but India is doing better. This is by Vandana Kalra. Okay, celebrating for creating values of criticized for propelling hype alongside art auction has been a subject. This is mainly about the art and the artist, how arts are widespread in all over the world, and how Indian arts are not developing from there. So this is the thing. For I don't think that we have to read all the lines, but this is the mainly thing, and this is the a lot of data about the art of India's. So before going to read, this is, if we read this line now, we can also conclude what the main thing that the authors want to say. In contradiction to the global sentiment, the Indian art market is exhibiting not just admirable resilience but also sustained growth. The Indian Auction Market 2024 report by Assigned Data Science notes that the auction season saw remarkable activity across 93 auctions conducted by 9 auction houses, generating a total turnover of rupees 1558.97 crore. So this is the data by the Indian art market, and how the Indian auction market, I will highlight the point. So this is the data by Indian auction market, and this report says how the art and how the art is getting more devastated in all over the world. So this is mainly about this. So if anyone want to read each line, then please go and read. So let's move on to the another slide. So this is about the idea page, and here are the thing: tax system that cares, the illusion of free speech. This is also by someone. These all things are also by someone, means some author or authoress. So if anyone want to read, then read it. Otherwise, skip that page. But if you are reading, it will improve yourself. Okay. So this is Express Network. Pradhan. Center will not impose any language on a state. This is by Dharmendra Pradhan, the Education Minister of India. And this is the line said by him. Okay. Kanpur cops search Yamuna as man kills partner, throws body to river. Are you getting the point? Jammu mishap that left one. Just a second. Jammu mishap that left one dead turned out to be shooting. 3 policemen suspended. So this is the data of the news. How this is not relevant, but if anyone want, then read it. Okay. So finally, we are going to the economy page. So in this economy page, there is nothing talk about. Here is a gold rate, and today's gold rate is not given. So This is the economy page, and this is the last page, which is I'm going to read. Exempting more items from GST against modern taxation system. States must explore levy of passenger goods tax to raise revenue post GST cuts. Like passenger trains, 4 new freight services run with fixed notified timing. The move aims to ensure reliable train freight operation. LVMH boss Bernard Arnault slams France's proposed billionaire tax. Private companies have capital must invested in India's growth, says EAC PM. Lanchan Murdoch, Michael Dell, Ellison part of TikTok deal. Maybe from 2 or 3 days we only heard about the news of TikTok. Why this? I know that. So Maruti Suzuki's new Victories is more than a grand Vitara in disguise. So this is a design line of Maruti Suzuki Victories. If anyone want to buy, then buy it. Alright, here we end our session. So this is the low inflation. The problem with low inflation. It is explained here. Read this. It's very important. I will not going to end this session. Before I just want to give you the summary. After that I will end it. So problem with low inflation. Inflation has fallen sharply in recent months and is expected to stay subdued. But while this is a net positive for consumer, it is a problem for government budget mathematics. That here's why. This is the reason why it's a problem for government's budget. So this is a graph that shows budget assumption and the GDP percentage. The green line shows the GDP rate, nominal GDP growth rate, and the red line shows the budget assumption. So earlier this month, 2 sets of inflation data were released by the government, and both were heartened for India's household. Means through decrease of GST, it's good for the consumer, but it's bad for the it's demerit for the government budget. This is the main thing that's written here. So due to the low inflation, means if the inflation decrease, here is the thing that is mainly written here. Here that through low GDP, yes, through low GST, the GDP growth become low. And what's matter is that if the inflation gets low, the supply getting much more high, because there is a high demand of things. Okay, so however, RBI says that a study from last month showed that while private companies saw 5.5% rise in sales in April June, their net profit rose at far more rapid 17.6% for private manufacturer. The variation was even more stark on account of cooling global commodity price. Sales rose 5.3% while net profit was this is the high. Means profit is increasing for the private consumers. This is the thing that is this is the report that is given by the RBI. We have a situation where corporate profit margins and strong and companies are also reporting sitting, but the capex sentiment has stayed weak. The economics from ICICI Securities primary dealership said, means in context of this, if we talk about this, that demand getting high, the demand is increasing and supply will decrease, because if the inflation is decreasing means the purchasing power of a consumer is increasing. So this is all about this, that how GDP affect. So let's end this session. So if you liked, then please like, share and subscribe my video. I hope this content is very helpful for you. Thank you for watching it.